Okay, I think everyone's ready. We can call to order our study session. We have one item on the agenda here this evening, and that is to discuss the regular meeting agenda. I see on the regular meeting, we have consent agenda has DR 2479, UP 24-44, and UP 24-45 pop stroke. And then on the non-consent is GP 2403 Pony Lane and Z 2415 Pony Lane. Is there anyone that believes that there should be any movement in these? I know that staff notified me there's likely some public in attendance that wishes to speak on Pony Lane, so I don't believe we will move that one. Is everyone okay with the pop stroke? Okay. Very good then. Great discussion. I will adjourn the study session, and we'll be back in 5 minutes for the regular meeting. Thank you. Okay, everyone, it's 6 o'clock now. Thank you all for joining me for the study session. We are now going to call to order the regular meeting. The first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and join in with me. Thank you very much. Eva, could we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lyon? Commissioner Hang?
Here.
Commissioner DeGravina?
Here.
Commissioner Gage? Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Simon?
Here.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yeah.
Vice Chairman Fay?
Here.
Chairman Munt?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Eva. Okay, so on to item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. I believe we will be leaving it as is, so I will entertain a motion.
Chair,
We need a motion to not do anything?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
As written. We have a motion from,
I'll second that.
and we have motion and a second. Everybody please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, communications. Communications from, pardon me, communications from citizens. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. The commission may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to state law, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration. I currently don't have any cards. Are there any citizens here wishing to speak on items not on the agenda tonight? Okay, not seeing any. We will move on to item number 4, which is the report from council liaison on current events. And we have our new council liaison, just crowned last night as a new council member, Monty Lyons. So welcome, and thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to it, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything to bring tonight. I've only been a councilman for 24 hours, but I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. It's great to have you here. Okay, we'll move now on to the public hearing consent. All items listed below are considered the public hearing consent calendar. The commission may, by a single motion, approve any number of items where, after opening the public hearing, no person requests the item to be removed from the current calendar. If such a request is made, the commission shall then withdraw the item from the public hearing consent calendar for the purpose of public discussion and separate action. Other items on the agenda may be added to the consent calendar and approved under a single motion. This evening, the consent calendar has one item, number 5, DR 24-79 Pop Stroke, UP 24-44 Pop Stroke, and UP 24-45 Pop Stroke. I do not have any comment cards, but I will once again just clarify, is there anyone here that wished to speak on this item? Okay, very good. Then with that, I will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Huang. All, please cast your vote. Motion carries. Okay, public hearing non-consent. And before I read this spiel, if anyone is here wishing to speak on Pony Lane, there are comment cards in the back. They're little yellow cards, and there's pencils that you can fill out. If you would please fill one of those out and bring it up to the staff to your right over there. They can bring it to me. I just wanted, I thought you may be here for that, so I wanted to direct you. Public hearing non-consent. Non-consent public hearing items will be heard at an individual public hearing and will be acted upon by the commission by separate motion. During the public hearings, anyone wishing to comment in support or in opposition to a public hearing item may do so. If you wish to comment on a public hearing item, you must fill out a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to be heard. Once the hearing is closed, there will be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the commission. We'll move into one item that we have, is item number 6. And we'll have a presentation first by staff, and then the public comment will open. So you can take your time filling out those cards, but please bring them up then. We have item number 6, GP 24-03 Pony Lane and Z 24-15 Pony Lane, and Ms. Kristen Devine. Thank you.
All right, good evening, Commission. The cases I have for you tonight are for a conventional rezoning and a general plan amendment for a residential area. This did come to study session before you last month. The site is located on Lindsay Road, south of Galveston, adjacent to South Valley Junior High, seen here outlined in red. The applicant is proposing to rezone this property from SF 43 to SF 35. And the request tonight is for a minor general plan amendment to increase the allowed density on the parcel from 0 to 1 dwelling units per acre to 1 to 2 dwelling units per acre, and to rezone the property from SF 43 to SF 35. The site is approximately 7 acres, and the applicant has been working with staff to overcome development concerns for approximately 2 years. Access to the site will be taken from Lindsay Road. Previous conversations have been held between staff and the applicant about the possibility of adding an access point from Pony Lane, the road just to the south, but there are significant constraints with access in that location due to a historical irrigation canal that runs along the property. So with that, the only access will be from Lindsay Road, not from Pony Lane. The image seen here is the most recent concept plan, which shows 4 lots. However, the rezoning is being requested as a preemptive measure to allow the 3 larger lots the possibility of a split in the future if their future owners choose to do so. As currently zoned, 6 oversized lots would fit on the site at roughly 49,000 square feet, whereas allowing a downzoning to SF 35 would allow for 1 additional lot and put the size of those 7 lots at approximately 41,000 square feet. And I would like to note that this plan is just a concept plan. With this being a conventional rezoning, there is not a development plan that's being approved with the rezoning this evening. This is just to give you a visual context of what the applicant intends to do with the site. The surrounding area is zoned SF 43, but it does include a variety of lot sizes. I've highlighted 3 parcels in the area that are currently under 43,000 square feet, which is what is required in the SF 43 zoning district. They range in size from approximately 39,000 to 41,000 square feet. Rezoning the subject parcel to SF 35 would allow the lot sizes to be more in line with these existing lots in the immediate area, including the 2 lots that would be on either side of that access road immediately adjacent to the property. And as a comparison, a similar case was approved in 2022, just north of this property. Access to the property is nearly identical, and the rezoning from SF 35 to, or I'm sorry, SF 43 to SF 35 was approved. A neighborhood meeting was held for this site on October 28th. There were 14 neighbors in attendance who voiced opposition to the project. The reasons for their opposition were largely due to density and access. The possibility of an access point from Pony Lane was a large concern, and I would like to reiterate that there will not be an access point from Pony Lane, only from Lindsay Road. And the applicant has also noted that they've been working with the residents of the 2 lots on either side of the access drive to address their questions and concerns, and the applicant has explained to staff that those neighbors are no longer opposed to the project. Staff hasn't heard from those residents personally, but that's just a note from the applicant. And with that, staff does recommend an approval recommendation to Town Council of Z 2415 and GP 2403 Pony Lane, and I am available for your questions.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Kristen at this time? Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Chair. Kristen, As far as future process, when they decide to move forward, it looks like they have enough lots, they're gonna need to process a preliminary plat. If they move forward with that many lots, is that correct?
So Chairman Munt, Commissioner Davis, I know. Okay, yes, I apologize. I don't remember if the cutout was 4 or 5 of the lots to be a
Oh.
minor subdivision.
Okay.
So it could, it will require a pre-plat,
It
yes.
looks like they were proposing a future private street as well. So
Yes.
I was curious if, then I assume it looks like those 2 houses along Lindsay have side access into theirs off of that future possible tract. So I assume they'll be somehow shared in that subdivision in the future? As far as being party to that and getting cross-access through that? Because their access isn't off of Lindsay Road, correct?
So the
Well, not
access,
direct, it's like through that tract?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. I just wanted to confirm I was seeing that right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anyone else? Vice Chair, I see your mic is hot. Are you waiting to?
Nope, I was
Okay.
giving her head signals, nope.
Okay. Kristen, is the applicant here that wishes to speak at all?
they are here.
If you'd like to come up and say anything, please, go ahead. Hit the button on the front there.
Good evening. Thank you for your consideration of this approach. My name is Nathan Finch with the Cross Law Firm. I represent Darkham, the owner of the property. And the only thing I want to say is to address Commissioner Davis's question. The access for those 2 parcels in front of this property is currently via easement across property owned by my client, and that their access would continue. They wouldn't be a part of any HOA or anything else. There's a part of anything that was developed on the back parcel because they already own it and they probably wouldn't want to be part of an HOA if they couldn't help it. But part of this would provide an HOA that would maintain the road and the access. So I don't know if that was, okay. But that was all I wish to say. Kristen's done a great job. So
Thank you, sir.
May I
Okay.
please add something?
Yes, please, Kristen.
Sorry, trying to interrupt the process. I misspoke earlier. There will not be a pre-plat. The cutoff is 5 lots. So at 5 lots, a pre-plat would be required. At 4 lots, it is not. So if those 3 larger lots were to come in the future and request a split, it would just be a minor land division that would go straight to our engineering department. And the private roadway tract would be established during final plat.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or? Okay, I have 2 comment cards. The first one is Brittany Palbican, and she's opposed the item and wishes to speak. Her comment is, "I'm not in favor of this motion as it does not maintain the quality of the neighborhood." Brittany, please come up and just state your name again and, you know, the town you live in, which is obvious, I know, but, and then 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Brittany Palvegan. I live in the city of Gilbert, just down the street from this proposed division change. So if you can't tell, I'm growing my family right now. I purposely bought my house to grow my family in these nice large lots that are within this neighborhood. And so the proposed plan to allow smaller lots within this neighborhood does not keep with the style of the neighborhood. I know that 3 lots were pulled up, but you can see the vast majority of the lots around this are not a smaller lot. The ones below it are, in the 2-acre size. Ones right adjacent to it are multiple acres. It's the style of the neighborhood. It's a farm and agricultural community. There are horses outside, there's pigs and there's chickens, and it's just a very lovely area to raise a family and have kids. And to have someone come in and try to propose a change that seems just to try and fit in 1 extra lot. These lots, like they had even mentioned in their plan, are very similar to the size of the lot of the neighborhood. And so to try and squeeze in potentially 1 additional lot just seems, to be honest, that they're trying to just weasel away in an extra lot to be able to sell. In the initial plan, if you take a look at it, just sliding that area over on 1 of the lots would create equal lots that would be within the zoning of our current area. And like I think that's pretty much all I want to say is that it just doesn't keep with the style of the neighborhood. Neighbors are around that area, are buying into that neighborhood for that specific reason, and it does change the style. And I think for the city of Gilbert, when we take a look at these kind of plans, Gilbert's quaint and it's beautiful in these like nice pockets. And I think if we continue to change for density, you're going to start to lose that Gilbert. That's the reason why so many people are moving to Gilbert. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Brittany. Okay. Oh, there we go, a few more. Next up, I have Perry Castanis, and he's opposed to the item. Perry, please come up, state your name, and 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Perry Castanis, and I live at 2139 South 141st Street. A pleasure to be able to present a comment to the commission. My wife and I have been residents of Gilbert for more than 25 years. We moved a full half mile to get to the property we currently live on, which is an acre lot to retire on and to enjoy the last of our lives. We've been watching this neighborhood for many years, and when an opportunity came up to purchase the home we currently live in, we jumped on it because of the value that it is. And I'm here to echo the words that Brittany said, that it is a quality of life, it's a style of life that we purposely spent really good money on to live on, not to have it shortcutted into smaller lots. It was mentioned earlier that a proposal just north of this lot, also previously owned by Glenn Guthrie, was recently rezoned into SF35s from 43. That met with opposition as well. And unfortunately, I think the commission and the town council ignored the request of the surrounding neighbors, which were several, to stop that change. And regrettably, that went through. And now it's used as precedent for continued change. And if that's the way it's going to be, there's really no reason to have these types of meetings to have public opinion if we're simply going to rely on precedents. We need to think about the quality of life that myself and my fellow neighbors have purchased, the quality of life that we hope to enjoy, the quality of life that others might be interested in pursuing, and understand that that shouldn't just be rubber stamped by something that was run through the middle of the night. And the precedent actually for that other property happened during COVID when no one was available for comment. So if you look back historically over the approval process, you'll see that one lot was subdivided during the COVID days. That became precedent for the last 7 or 11 lot piece. And now guess what? Here we are again, singing the same sad song, squeezing neighbors onto smaller lots. There's plenty of places to build. The developer had the opportunity and knew the rules when he purchased the property. He understood what the requirements were when he purchased the property, and now he's coming to change it. And I don't think that's fair, I don't think that's right, and I strongly oppose this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up, we have Mark and Terry Grant, opposed to the item. And I don't know if you wish to speak or just wanted to have that entered. Okay, thank you, sir. And then Janelle Edinger, who is opposed to the item, and comment is the access to Lindsay is already dangerous. And you do wish to speak? Okay,
Yes,
please go ahead.
thank you very much. I'll speak for my husband and myself. We've lived at 2169 for 25 years. We built our home. My husband built it himself back then. We were a big part of the building of the other homes in the neighborhood. So we've seen all this change. So we do oppose it. I see that our lot you have circled in red. Does that mean indicates it's 1 acre, which I would disagree with? It's more than 1 acre?
I had it circled because it shows us 40,000 and some change on our parcel maps.
I would disagree with that. Maybe it's not accurate. We're 1 acre and a quarter. So with that said, I agree with my neighbors as far as the lot sizes and why we built there. I have a concern with Lindsay Road. It's already extremely dangerous to enter into Lindsay Road. There's a junior high school there that the kids walk down the sidewalk home. A lot of parents pick their kids up on Pony Lane, which they shouldn't, but they do. It's already a very dangerous situation. And to have more cars pulling in and out of a place where it's really already difficult to access Lindsay Road. And with the junior high right there, it's just an accident waiting to happen. So I oppose it for those reasons. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Janelle. Okay, just one more last, if there's anyone else that did wish to speak, just want to confirm that everyone has a chance to. Okay, then I will close the public comment and bring it back up here to the dais. And oh, I didn't know if that happened during the same, okay. The applicant, if you wished, you could have any comments in a rebuttal or in a response to the citizen comment, if you wish.
I just want to make one statement for clarity's sake. When this property was acquired, the rules that are in place now were not in place then. They went into place weeks after the property was acquired, and so the rules that it's being developed under are different rules than when the property was acquired, which is just to clarify in terms of that, and not complaining, just clarity. That was it. Unless anyone, any further questions for me.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any more questions for the applicant before? Okay.
I guess I do. In buying that property, was it contingent upon those changes happening, or were those changes made and you didn't know they were happening? Because you make it sound like it was something that came after the fact and you weren't aware of it.
That is in fact the case. When the property was acquired, my client spent some time with the town of Gilbert to understand the process and was told a certain thing. And soon after the acquisition, the changes came into place that are requiring it to have a dedicated roadway and pieces like that is essentially taking away available land. This is a greater than 7 acre parcel that the intention was to have the ability to have it is with the density that's being proposed currently, but with the requirement for the dedicated roadway. And the reason why it's been a couple of years with planning staff is to navigate how to make this process work, and this is where the process has landed us. And so it isn't in any way a complaint, it was just a clarity that at the time the property was acquired, the rules that exist now requiring the dedicated roadway, therefore taking away from the available square footage for the lots to allow it to be within the zoning of SF 43. That change occurred, and this is the navigation to resolve that change.
Okay.
Kristen, I noticed you came to the podium likely with something to say.
Chairman Munt, I was going to elaborate on the change as well, but I think Nathan covered it unless anyone has questions.
I have a question.
Commissioner Davis, please.
Thank you. Is that change partially because of the lack of access on Pony Lane?
No, so that change is universal throughout any development that comes in. Now, the roadways need to be a designated tract or dedicated right-of-way. They can't be part of the lots themselves.
Okay.
And when we did the pre-app, that wasn't a comment that was made at the time. It was put into effect later,
Okay.
before they formally submit for a lot split.
And was Pony Lane ever a considered access because of that drainage channel? Because it looks like some of the lots out there are certainly accessing across it, but I know
Staff
that's
had asked.
expensive.
Staff had asked for it, for a secondary access point for more convenience. But when, I believe Tom worked with the applicant more than I did because they went through a big chunk of engineering review before they came back to planning for this rezoning. And the canal, it's some sort of a historic canal, and to develop over it there are a lot of hoops that would need to be jumped through.
I'm familiar with that. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for that information. That does help me in understanding that private drive was required and that did take property out of the size of these lots because of the size of the property. It seemed like there would have been a way to develop it in some way, but hearing about that historic channel there, that helps also. Thank you.
Commissioner Simon.
Yeah, just a quick question. Kristen, in the packet, the site plan is not in there, so I'm assuming we're not looking at that at all.
Yes, so Chairman Monk, Commissioner Simon, that is correct. This is just the rezoning, and because it's conventional, the site plan and development plan aren't part of the review process. That would be reviewed during the plating.
Okay. But conceptually, the conversation has been around four lots.
Yes.
On the 7 acres,
Yes.
with the
Nathan would like
ability to
to-
possibly divide 3 of those lots into 2 additional lots.
That's been my understanding, unless Nathan would like to elaborate.
And just for absolute clarity, that conceptual lot plan has been submitted through engineering as that exactly. And my client is maximizing the value he's able to get for those 2-acre lots to where a subsequent owner would see the value there where they could choose to, in the future, subdivide, but he's not doing any of that subdividing.
Okay, thank you.
So Kristen, just for my own clarification then, under the current zoning, with the new rules, what is the major difference here then? Because I guess they would have to have the access. Would it just be that they'd have to bring in a roadway with a cul-de-sac and just have it split into thirds? Like, under the current zone, like, what could that look like? I want to just make sure I'm understanding the differential that we're weighing, because I'm hearing like, we want 1-acre lots, but then I'm seeing that the lots that we're proposing are larger than that. And so I want to make sure that I'm understanding where the rub is within that, if I can, at all.
So Chairman Munt, with this conceptual plan, which is the working plan that is likely to go to final plating when it gets to that point, if it's approved, Lot 4 is at 41,000 square feet. Lots 1, 2, and 3 are all roughly 82 to 85,000. Each of those lots do have the ability, each of those lots do meet the requirements to be split to an SF-35 with widths, depths, square footages. They do have that ability and meet those requirements if those owners were to choose to do so. With SF-35, not SF-43. If
Okay.
it were to remain SF-43, they would not be able to split them
But they would.
3 times.
They would still have to meet all setbacks.
For
within
SF-35.
that. So depending on where they put those houses coming in, you're really limiting yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if I could say one thing in further response to that, Chairman. Before the rules requiring the road to be dedicated, it would have looked exactly like this.
Okay.
Except that land that is now dedicated road would have been part of the square footage of each of the lots, and therefore, they would have complied with the existing zoning.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Commissioner Wong?
Yeah, just a quick question. So let's say later on they come in, want to split lot 3. Would there still access using the track as an access? Is there any possibility they're going to use Pony Lane?
So Chairman Munt, Commissioner Huang, no. So Pony Lane there's no access off of Pony Lane
Okay,
for any of them.
okay, thank you.
Kind of a base,
Please, Commissioner, carry on.
thank you. The developers kind of subdividing that 7-acre parcel into 4. He's not building homes on those. He's going to sell those lots individually to potential homeowners. Is that correct?
One of the parcels, the developer is going to build a home for himself on.
Which one is that?
Parcel number 3, or lot number 3.
So that lot's probably going to stay, I can't read it, like 84,000 square feet, unless he's going to subdivide it ahead of time.
Well, it depends where he builds his house, and
Yeah.
a lot of factors there.
So
But
there's a good chance that someone that buys those other 2 lots might want that square footage, so these lots could be larger than what's surrounding.
Well, for clarity, these lots are substantially larger.
Right.
But in order to have Lot 4 be a buildable lot, because his intention is to also build a home on Lot 4, that would be then ultimately for sale, this rezoning is necessary to make all those puzzle pieces fit in place. The lots 1 and 2 are substantially more valuable if a subsequent owner could resell them, but it's also a very difficult thing to find if somebody wanted 2 acres to build a pretty impressive house on, there's not a lot of 2-acre parcels available in a neighborhood with dedicated streets and all these sorts of things. So it's a end user question more than anything for those.
You really don't know which way this is going to go then?
It's up to the folks who subsequently buy the property.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All questions are good then? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Kristen. I will now close the public comment officially and bring it up to the dais for discussion. Does anybody want to kick us off? Commissioner Davis.
Why not? Thank you, Chair. I guess where I land on it is if that roadway was able to be, part of the lots, then each of these lots would meet the requirements. And the same number of homes on a 7-acre parcel would get to be built. Also, the fact that it's an internal street, I feel like it has less impact on the neighborhood than if they were accessing on Pony Lane. I can understand the concern that this is going to feel maybe a little different because there's going to maybe be a wall across there or something along those lines. I'm not sure what they're going to do with their fencing, but hopefully they'll maintain the character of the area. But I can understand that it's commensurate with what's happening in there because they have to have that private drive through the middle. So I guess I don't have big concerns with it based on that.
Right. And that's where, for me, when you get into the character of the area and I look at the fact that they don't have a lot of the autonomy that was granted to the other lots that are within the area for access. And that makes it's difficult to have an apples to apples to saying, and my personal belief is if this was coming in with we're going to split this into 12 lots, that would be egregiously off-putting, but the idea that they all seem to be quite large yet, and in appearance, in my opinion, to the same as the closest ones to it, where they're all going to have to be accessing right off of that roadway. It doesn't seem as major, especially because the precedent of the roadway. But anyone else, other comments you'd like to make or discussion we can have here? Commissioner Simon?
Thank you. So I think I'm in line with what you're saying, Chair. I believe, if you're looking at this and you've got 7 acres, if it was divided down, I think they said that there'd be 49,000 square feet, which is over an acre per lot, if you divided it down into what this is allowing. But we're going to have 3, in essence, 2-acre lots and a 1 point something. I would be more comfortable if the site plan came with the use permit, or the rezoning, I guess. But I don't know that I understand what the neighborhood is saying, and I don't want to dismiss that because I do feel like the term rubber stamp was thrown out, and I don't feel like there's a rubber stamp going on here. However, I do feel like we need to look at, this piece of property, and I've seen smaller pieces of property come to this commission asking for 12 to 14 parcels. And the fact that we're not seeing that is quite refreshing, honestly. And I don't think you're going to get anybody come in and try to develop this with only 3 parcels on that. So I would be more comfortable if there was a way to lock in to make sure, hey, yeah, we're going to have 4 parcels on this and that's it. But I don't feel that that's fair with the way that the new, I guess, zoning is on this. So I think for this, I am going to vote in favor of it. However, I mean, there's a little bit of anxiety with regards to, I would hope that whoever purchases those parcels sees the value and the size of them and does not subdivide them down.
Yeah, and I also will just add also that the idea that there's no access to Pony Lane, if the developer had come in and said, I want to make this exactly like the area, they are not allowed to. You just can't based on the current laws that exist. They couldn't have it split Longway and access Pony Lane. And so, it doesn't seem as though it's a massive ask comparatively. I mean, outside of the 560 there that is gorgeous and massive, much bigger than my stamp lot that I live on. But what we're dealing with isn't going to be totally tiny. And when it comes to the property rights, it's like I have to also lean into the individual that owns the land, their ability to build within this 7.5 acres does not seem to be nearly the same as it was in the area to try to keep that same thing. So with that, I mean, anyone else with comments, or if you want to make a motion? And the other part I guess wanted to add also is that what we're dealing with here is a zoning change, not a design review or any of that. And so the simple question that we're being posed is, can I get these 4 lots so that I can actually develop this? And to me, the answer on that one isn't that far off from what it currently is. Well, I'll quit talking.
May I?
Please, Vice Chair.
I'm sorry, I don't remember everyone's names, but the very first speaker, you kind of made a point that's rattled around, and sorry, my head. Brittany, thank you. That really this is just trying to get one more parcel in here, and yeah, I mean, I think there is some truth to that they could do what they're doing right now with the existing zoning, other than maybe that one parcel is just a hair short, but that's an easy fix, other than they want to be able to split later and end up with 7 parcels. There is something to be said for that. That does seem to be probably one of the number, based on actions, not words, that does seem to be one of the major goals of the end state here. And that part does seem to go against what's being proposed here. On the other hand, this is kind of, now, I'm sorry, I tend to do this a lot where I talk both sides of things. If we were going, the argument is not that the argument is one of, this is changing in such a way that it's going to undermine the fundamental character of the neighborhood or some standard along those lines. And I just have a hard time seeing going from 44,000 square foot lots to 38,000 square foot lots, or give or take whatever it is, that's a big enough change to undermine the character of the neighborhood, particularly, again, with the road not coming out on Pony Lane, but going directly out onto Lindsay. And I don't think it's, I mean, you're 7 or 8 lots, just the traffic contribution onto Lindsay is trivial. So I do think that there is a degree of, we're just trying to squeeze an extra lot in here. I don't know that the geometry is so. The last property that we talked about, the precedent one, that there was a geometry problem on that one that squeezed out some of their lots, but I don't think that's really true here. But I don't know, I just have a hard time seeing that this is enough of a change to undermine the rural nature of the lot. We're not talking about townhomes or apartments. We're talking about slightly smaller lots. And I did pull up the parcel map, that the parcels in red are under an acre. But probably some of the other ones are too. I didn't pull up all of them, but, so I'm not sure that, to me, this is a big enough change to warrant undermining the neighborhood's character.
Okay. Any other comments, or else if somebody wants to make a motion either in favor or against, please feel free.
Say, Madam Chairman. Chairman Munt, I'd make a motion to approve item 6, GP 24-3 as Pony Lane and Z 24 TAC 15 as written.
We have a motion from the vice chair. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Davis with the second. Any more discussion prior to voting from commission? Yep, Commissioner Anderson.
This is just our word to the citizens. So what we're doing right now, all we're really doing is making a recommendation towards city council in case you're not familiar with the whole process. So there's another layer that you be able to voice your opinions and concerns before it actually becomes a full approval. So I just wanted to get that out there in case some people were not familiar with the process.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other discussion? Okay, please cast your vote when available. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Administrative items. Administrative items are for the commission's discussion and action. It is to the discretion of the majority of the commission. Regarding public input requests on any administrative item, persons wishing to speak on an administrative item should complete a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to address. The commission may or may not accept public comment. The only item that we currently have here, item number 7, is the Planning Commission meeting minutes. And considering the approval of the minutes from the study session regular meeting from December 4th, 2024. Everybody's had a chance to review those. Is there anyone that has any changes required or a motion?
Chairman Munt, I would move to approve item 7, the Planning Commission commission minutes without change.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Anderson gave me a phew, so we're going to give it to him. Okay, everybody please cast your vote. Motion carries. Minutes approved.
I tried to abstain a few months ago, and I wasn't allowed to, and he just gets to go, and that's good enough.
Sir. Okay, moving on to communications. There is no executive session, so we'll go to item number 8, and that's a report from chairman and members of the commission on current events. Is there anyone that has anything they'd like to share about the current events? Well, I'll just say from my perspective that having the freshman councilman Lyons with us is a very exciting change. We had the now mayor as our liaison for the last few years. So he has some big shoes to fill, but I feel he'll do a great job, and I'm excited to have you here, sir. So other than that, I don't have anything else. And we will move to item number 9, to the report from the Planning Services Manager, Eva, on current events.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to echo your sentiments and welcome our new liaison, Councilmember Lyons.
All right. Thank you very much. No other items on the agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chairman Munt, I move to adjourn.
We have a motion for adjournal from the vice chairman. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Commissioner DeGravina. Please cast your vote. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.